If you've been watching the news over the last few weeks, you've probably seen reports of rioting and civil unrest in Northern Ireland. And it's actually the first time that the Northern Ireland has been in the news for unfortunate reasons like this for quite some time. So today I just wanted to briefly try and explain what's behind all of this. Unfortunately, as an Englishman, I'm perhaps not best placed to talk about Irish affairs, but I will do my best. The other disclaimer I should make is that, of course, any discussion of issues around Northern Ireland tends to be very complicated, but I'll do my best in the time available to me to try and explain. So some observers think that the recent riots actually have a very prosaic cause, and that is quite simply that recently the police in Northern Ireland have cracked down on drug crime and organised crime, and that the gang bosses have simply encouraged their young members to go out and riot in reaction to the police clampdown. And although that may have some truth to it, other observers suggest that even if that is the case, the riots build on a deep-seated feeling of dissatisfaction in Northern Ireland about the Brexit agreement. Now, Brexit and Northern Ireland, there we're mixing up two issues that are complicated on their own. And I think in order to explain why Brexit is an issue for Northern Ireland, we have to look at, first of all, the names of the different parts of the UK, some of the history, and then I'll come on to say something about Brexit. So I guess you're probably aware, if you actually think about it, that in France, everybody tends just to call the islands over the other side of the Channel England. And that isn't, of course, correct. We are the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom is England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Great Britain, on the other hand, is just Wales, England, and Scotland. So Great Britain and Northern Ireland, I beg your pardon, become the United Kingdom as well. Now, to complicate matters, because that's just the United Kingdom side of the geographical equation, we've also got the fact that some commentators will refer to the island of Ireland, meaning the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland together. That's sometimes relevant for certain sports. It's also relevant in terms of the Catholic population and also passports, but that's another story. However, there is also a further denomination to these land masses, and that's the Common Travel Area, the CTA, which was actually set up in 1922 when Ireland became independent of the United Kingdom. And that's basically a passport area within which there are no border checks. And I'll come back to this in a minute because it's relevant again under Brexit. So let's have a quick look at the history of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Ireland became independent in 1922 as a largely Catholic country, and Northern Ireland became part or remained part of the United Kingdom, and its population is about 50% Catholic, 50% Protestant. And that led to a considerable amount of sectarian tension and violence. And indeed, between the 60s and the end of the last century, there was essentially a guerrilla war going on between Irish nationalist terrorists and the British government, a period that's called the Troubles, which began in the early 70s for many people with Bloody Sunday, when British troops fired on and killed Catholic civilian protesters, and which ended with the Good Friday Agreement in 1998. Now, the Good Friday Agreement is a power-sharing agreement which sets out, which aims to create peace, first of all, between the Catholic community and the Protestant communities, the nationalist community and the unionist community in Northern Ireland, and it offers power sharing between the two communities. It stipulates that that Northern Ireland will remain in the United Kingdom, and that there will be no change in that situation without consent from the population, so without a referendum. And now one of the main provisions of the Good Friday Agreement was that military border checkpoints, which had been in place for many years to try and catch terrorists crossing the border between Ireland and Northern Ireland, would be dismantled. And this is what brings us to Brexit, because there's a risk with Brexit that border posts, admittedly not military border posts, but border posts all the same, will come back into force. Why? Well, both parties to the Brexit agreement, the UK and the EU, said that they didn't want a hard border in Ireland, so they didn't want border checkpoints between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland because of some of the bad memories that that might throw up. But that means that Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland are essentially still part of the same single market, so Northern Ireland would remain in the EU single market. No problem, you say. But the side effect of that is that there has to be a border between the EU and the UK no longer being part of the market. That border then ends up being between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, the famous border in the Irish Sea. And there would have to be checks on goods between Northern Ireland and and Great Britain. And that's something that leaves unionists, Protestants in Northern Ireland, feeling very much betrayed, as they very much want to remain part of the United Kingdom. So this threat is a very serious one, and I did, just to back up what I say about that, want to read to you from the document that I provided earlier. If I could ask you to turn to page 10 at the bottom, you'll see the heading Conclusion, and I'll just start reading there. The fears about the impact of Brexit on the peace process and the Irish border, which were raised in particular by nationalists during the EU referendum debate, were justified. EU membership has played a key part in Northern Irish politics. It's been a significant political, economic, and psychological factor that has enabled unionists and nationalists to collaborate, and has been a means of maintaining relationships with the Republic of Ireland. Unlike the main Northern Irish parties, whose attitudes to the EU do not reflect the ethnic dual-party system, the Northern Irish population still seems to be divided along community lines. This was confirmed by the Brexit referendum results. Even if most of the population voted to remain in the EU, by a majority of 55.8% to 44.2%, there was a divide between unionist and nationalist constituencies. Most majority unionist constituencies, 7 out of 10 of the total of 18 Northern Irish constituencies, voted in favour of leaving, whereas all the majority nationalist areas returned a Remain vote. This consequently means that intercommunal tensions may be revived, particularly as membership of the EU is a sensitive issue. The continuity of the peace process in Northern Ireland will depend on the Brexit arrangements, which must pay heed to the divisions in the province and include all the relevant actors, particularly Northern Ireland's political parties and the Irish government. So far, Brexit negotiations have tried to take Northern Ireland's special status into account, focusing on the two key issues mentioned in this paper. The UK and Irish governments have confirmed a shared intention to maintain the benefits of the common travel area, although the implications of Brexit are not yet clear. They will certainly do their best to maintain most elements of today's constitutional settlement. Otherwise, peace and stability in Northern Ireland could be under threat. So those are the words of Karine Berbery, a respected scholar on issues relating to Northern Ireland, in a study that she published last year. So you can see there's a very real danger of the Brexit agreement undermining the peace process, the Good Friday Agreement, but also that if we manage to maintain the peace process, that comes with a side effect that perhaps many in Great Britain will not like, which is a rift between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So perhaps one could say the government is in a no-win situation. There will undoubtedly be tensions down the road, and perhaps there'll be no ideal solution. But I sincerely hope that the peace that we've seen over the last 20 years is not undermined.